transfer window's finally closed. Feel like it's been going on forever. How are you feeling? Pleased it's closed now?
Yeah, I think it's we are pleased it's closed, and it's good because players who are here know that they are here, and players who are not here are not here. So we can concentrate on the next game against Newcastle.
How stressful is it for a manager, the transfer window?
On my side, it wasn't stressful at all. I think we, as a football club, had a really clear idea about what we wanted to do. We knew the profile of players that we wanted to bring, and we didn't manage to bring those players for different reasons. But we had a plan, and we didn't bring anybody. But the market opening again in 13 games. So we always been clear about not just bringing players to make numbers. I always said from the first day that I was pleased with the group of players that we had, the quality of the players that we have, and I think so far we've been competing every single game that we played, and that will not going to change.
What difficulties did you face yesterday?
No, there's no difficulties. I think it's the market. You identify players, you go in discussion with clubs first and see if they prepare to let that players go, and clubs will say yes, will say no, but it's not easy to bring players to get better options, I would say.
A lot of fans will look at the expenditure of the Premier League this summer, breaking the record, and they'll see Crystal Palace quite low down that list. Can you understand their frustrations looking at the expenditure and where Palace are?
Yeah, I think, of course, people can get really frustrated because when you see the money has been spent in the Premier League, but you need to understand that, who we are as a football club. We tried our best. We work hard to try to bring players because we always wanted to improve the squad. But if you don't find that player, because for different reasons, you just have to move on.
Does it make your job harder looking at how much money was spent by clubs around you in the league and the sheer volume? Does that make your job harder as Crystal Palace manager?
That will not change the difficulty of the Premier League. The challenge is always going to be there. And of course, when you look at the teams around with the number of players that they bring or the money that they spend, they strengthen the squad. But I believe we have enough in the house to be competitive.
And wealth, always mentioned during every single transfer window, summer, winter.
By who?
By the media, certainly,
okay.
In general, yeah, for sure. Was there ever any doubt that he would potentially leave this summer?
There wasn't any doubt in my mind. Working with him for the last couple of years, he's been straightforward about the way he trained every day. So I didn't even ask myself if he's going to be here in the summer or not.
There will be a lot of talk about his contract situation now, into his final year.
But that's normal. He's a final year. He's Wilfried Zaha. He's playing the best football, I believe, from a long time. So there will be talk about it. And we know where we stand. We know what we want to do. And then let's just see what will happen.
On his performances then, you said you think he's probably playing the best football of his career. Certainly looking from the outside, he started the season off so well. What do you think's been key to how he started this season?
I think it's the team. I think he mentioned it quite really well on his last interview. It's about the players around him. It's about the way we played. It's about him feeling really comfortable on the field, and the quality is there for him to score those kind of goals.
After the Brentford game, you said that your players towards the end looked tired and lacked a bit of energy at the end. Was that down to Brentford's style of play, or are the players maybe not quite at the level that you want them to be in right now, fitness-wise?
I think you have to give a lot of credit to Brentford. I think from the first minute they play it really well. They make it really difficult for us. And when you're looking at the game from start to end, I don't believe we did enough to win that game, But we managed to get the points, and we still have to improve, because when you score that first goal, you expect to win games and to get a clean sheet. So we have to change on our mindset. We have to be more aggressive. We have to work harder and put our sleeve up when we are leading, and especially when it's this last couple of minutes to do what we need to win that game.
Final one for me, moving on to Newcastle. What's the latest team news? Are there any doubts, fitness concerns at all?
No, there's no doubt. There's Will Hughes who will be in the squad, training with the team this morning. He's feeling good, so everybody's fit to travel.
Cheers, Patrick.
Patrick, if you can use that.
I might as well use this. Hi, Patrick. Hi, just on an answer you just gave now when you were asked about the Brentford game. There's been a few times this season where you've taken the lead and not gone on to win the game. Yeah. Now, James asked if that was to do with tiredness. Is it more about not being ruthless enough and game management issues?
I think it's a little bit of what you just mentioned. It's about being more ruthless in both areas of the game. Is managing the game much better. Is the mental toughness on those kind of period. And this is one of area of the game that we need to improve.
Where does that come from? Is that a mental thing, or is it something you work on the training ground in certain situations?
This is the mental things, is analyzing those moments of the game and see how we concede those goals, something that tactically we will have to do better as well. This is something that we are focusing, because when you're looking at the Liverpool game, the City game, and look at the Brentford game, we can be disappointed because we lead those games, because the performance is there, and we have to manage the game in a better way if we want to take those 3 points.
This season you've tried some different formations away from home and some. Is that something you'll look at again going to Newcastle, and is that based on the opponent or playing away, or who you've got available to you in terms of fitness?
No, I think it's just about taking everything into consideration, and the game plan about how we want to play the game, how we want to approach the game. What is important for me is to have players who can feel comfortable in any kind of system that we are using.
And you talked before about transfers, and for different reasons didn't get players and you wanted. I understand you were looking for a striker. When you look at someone like Newcastle,
who say that?
Who could get well?
You have a really good contact.
But is there a degree of envy when you see a team like Newcastle who you're coming up against? They want a player. They can go out and get Alexander Isak, someone like that, who can come in and make an instant impact. Is there a degree of envy on your part?
No, not at all. I think, Newcastle with the new owners, I think it's good for the Premier League, it's good for the city of Newcastle, it's good for Newcastle Football Club, and we have resources to identify top players to play in our football club. We showed it last year with the players that we bring. So money will help you, yes, to get those kind of players, but there's a different way of bringing players, and we showed it last year. We have a really clear idea about how we want to work, the profile of players that we want, and sometimes, yes, we identify those players, but for different reasons, again, we can't bring those players. But we tried our best, and we will keep working on that side, because we want to improve the squad.
And just on Isak, he's come in, he scored a goal straight away. Is he the sort of player, when we're talking about what Newcastle do with the new owners and moving forward, is he the sort of player that takes them up a level, do you think?
I think when you spend those kind of money to one player, you will improve your team. And he's a quality player, there's no doubt about it. And, they built the team that can be really competitive. They build a team that, with Isaac, with players from the Premier League as well, who have really big experience in the Premier League, who know the league really well. So, of course, they have a team that can fight for this kind of European position.
Ed, you mentioned them signing players from other Premier League teams, but this summer only one player moved from within the Premier League to Newcastle. And Eddie Howe suggested that other English clubs don't want to do business with them anymore because they're perceived as more of a threat, and they've got the new owners. Has the perception of Newcastle changed, do you think, within the English game?
I think obviously it will change when you have that power to spend money. Of course, you will have sometimes to pay over the price to get that player. That is the way it is in the games today. So I think that they are creative enough to find those players to come and to build a team.
Just finally from me on Newcastle, we talked about the money they spent, the players they brought in, that they've still just the one win so far this season. Do you think that they've made a step up, or how do you assess?
I think you can't make a judgment on that. I think it's still a really long way to go. I believe that they have the squad to play European football next season. That is what they built for. So it's too early to talk about any teams regarding the position.